Madam Speaker, and thank you, members, for this discussion. I took it upon myself, since we are public servants, to actually go to the public and talk to them and ask my business owners, my job creators, what they thought of this. Let us remind ourselves that while you've heard lots of numbers and lots of things today, that there are millions of people who work for a small business. And while we heard that 40% of workers would be hurt if we don't pass something like this, I want you to imagine what Minnesota would be like if all of a sudden 40% of them just didn't have jobs anymore, because our businesses have been overtaxed, over-mandated, over-governed. And so they decide to go to someplace else. And that's an actual reality for people like me, because I represent a bordering county. I'm only 15 minutes from the Iowa border. So it's very easy for my business owners, my job creators, to decide where they would like to set up shop. And oftentimes, Minnesota is the one losing, because government has decided to make it near impossible. We said today that we've heard a lot about small business owners, but we haven't heard much about people. Well, surprise, surprise, job creators are people too, who employ people. And small business owners who are in my communities, they know them. They go to church with them. They go to school with them. They know their kids. They see them in the grocery stores. They see them at the ball game. They know intimately and personally who their employees are. They are people too. Small businesses, our job creators, do not have success if they treat their employees poorly. Because as been said so many times, we don't quit a business, we quit our managers, our supervisors. And in case you haven't been looking around, there's help wanted everywhere. So if your job provider is treating you poorly, I guarantee you there's going to be someone else who's willing to employ you. I guarantee it. Because we are in such a hurting phase right now because of how many people we still need to hire. I promised my job creators that I would read their stories. And since we have taken it upon ourselves here in the legislature to mandate this, we are going to wait until you hear the stories of my job creators, because they have given me their stories. And for a culture that has decided that our truth lies within our own stories, hopefully you will understand what they have to say. As a business leader in your district, I ask that you carefully consider the impacts to owners and employees brought on by House File 2, and which we know is not debated tonight, but they put it all together, as well as House File 19. As written, one-size-fits-all legislation would bring forth one of the most expansive leave programs in the country. This will bring significant challenges in terms of staffing and finding replacement workers. Representative Mueller, I'm writing to let you know I do not support this bill. I am a CPA and I work with many small businesses. I know the frustration that employers have trying to keep up with all the payroll-related filings and deadlines on top of sales tax, provider tax, heavy use tax, income tax, etc. This is an additional cost for employers that are already running small margins in their businesses. Some business owners forgo any earnings for themselves in some years just to pay their employees and pay their bills. I am disappointed that the state feels they need to intervene on this issue. Representative Mueller, as a small business owner, I just want to share my views on the potential House File 19 mandates. I currently own a business with 7 employees, 3 of which are truck drivers, 2 office staff, and 2 owners. I am also in the process of purchasing another small business in similar industry. We can barely find employees to fill positions now. Is no one thinking about how many small businesses would have to shut down? How it would impact the job market? Are the regulations and restrictions strict enough? It just doesn't make sense. We, as business owners, hold each other accountable. If you don't have good benefits, employees don't want to work for you. Therefore, you have to step up. We don't need the government to force us to step up to a line that is unattainable, a line that will bankrupt a business. And not bankrupt a business is an additional tax, but more so in terms of what they are going to do without these employees. It is so sad that Minnesota has come to such lengths when it is not the least bit necessary. Rep. Mueller, I work for a small business, family restaurant here in Austin. This bill will have a devastating impact on my employer. As an expensive, unfunded mandate on small businesses that have just struggled through COVID shutdowns and labor shortages, this will do untold damage on us and other businesses in the area. Government mandates from those that have never run a business harm the very ones they seek to help. This overly broad and unfunded law also saddles us with overly burdensome and unnecessary bookkeeping mandates with draconian legal consequences. This entire bill will lead to higher prices, business closures due to already tight margins, and unemployment due to huge increases in the labor expenses. Please tell your colleagues in the majority to stop punishing small businesses in attempt to jam through your wish list. Consider the real world consequences. We've been through enough these past 3 years. As a business leader in your legislative district, I ask that you carefully consider the impacts to business owners and employees brought on by these legislation. As written, one-size-fits-all legislation will bring forth one of the most expansive leave programs in the country. We cannot take it. Please vote against House File 19. Mandating employers to employ all employees 80 hours of full-time paid off, regardless if they are full-time, part-time, or temporary, is crazy. It honestly feels like our Minnesota government is trying to eliminate small businesses. I am an owner of a small bookstore in Austin. I own the store, do the purchasing, cleaning, promoting, and most importantly, visit with every guest that enters the door. And I love it, but I get drained. I have asked my consultant who does my taxes if I can hire someone seasonally, part-time, few hours to help me. And the answer is always no. I have a volunteer who gives me a break now and then, but I'm not even supposed to show pay her, or I'll have to start the employment process with giving her all the benefits. It is not a possibility. Small businesses cannot do this. Maybe the big companies who are making money can, but a small business cannot afford this. How much research has been done to study small businesses in Minnesota? Small businesses do keep a community alive, but we have to stay alive ourselves. I am writing to tell you this is one more nail in the coffin for small businesses in Minnesota. I am already doing more than half of my work in Iowa, and I'm thinking of moving the rest of my businesses completely to Iowa. These are just 8 of my stories. 8 that I received in less than 24 hours, begging us to save their small business, begging them to save their livelihoods as they provide jobs for other people in our community. Our job providers invest in your communities. When they are gone, you will not have people to come and give money and sponsor your fundraisers, to sponsor your sports team, to your churches, your food drives. The type of investment that our small businesses are in our communities is invaluable. And they are asking you to listen to them, and please vote no.